G'day and welcome to Footyology, revelling in a tale of premiership romance so unlikely even Mills and Boom wouldn't have dreamed it up. I'm Rohan Connolly, with me is my co-host Mark Fine, and we're going to take a good look at the Western Bulldogs' triumph, how it happened, what it might do for the birth rate 9 months from now, and whether Luke Beveridge might receive a knighthood given Prince Philip got one for his services to 19th century imperialism. We've got grand final highlights galore and hot or not, the good oil on tomorrow's news today, a Rounds of Our Lives grand final special, keyboard Q&A, and not just a rant off, but a package of some of the best going off tap this season, all from me and him, well, except for that week Finey didn't turn up. So let's continue the post-grand final celebrations. As I say, good afternoon to you, Finey. Just how do we get our heads around the Doggies now being dual premiers?
It still sounds funny.
It does, doesn't it?
It's an amazing thing. Yeah. I've sort of grown up as a St Kilda supporter, sharing the bottom end of town with Footscray supporters, and always having one thing over them, that they never played in a grand final. But it was a great journey, and they took virtually every supporter other than Sydney supporters with them. You know, I was at a pub on Saturday, and the people there was only maybe 3 or 4 Bulldog supporters, 100 people yelling horse for the Doggies. I've just never seen anything like it.
It wasn't just the story. I mean, the storyline was great, obviously, but I thought it was a cracking game too. I still haven't done my list, and I like doing this, but I'd put it comfortably in the top 10 grand finals I've seen.
Yeah, had it had that sort of grandstand last-minute finish, it would have been the best grand final I've seen. It didn't quite have that sort of 5 minutes into the last quarter.
It was still in doubt, I reckon, with 5 minutes to go, till when Boyd kicked that goal.
There was a chance. Swans had sort of were playing all their cards, and Bulldogs in their wonderful style of, applying the screws from the first siren and then just hard. I think those people who watched enough footy knew about halfway through the last quarter that the Doggies were going to win. But of course, if you're a Doggy supporter, you didn't know it until Boyd's goal bounced through, did you? It was a great game. And you know what? It's had an effect on us because we've made our first set change for the season.
Yeah, gone to great expense here, so please note this, all Bulldogs fans. Didn't you have some obscure stat you were going to throw at me?
Are you familiar with the curse of the Red Fox?
No.
Okay, when Melbourne sacked Norm Smith.
Oh yeah, 1965, yeah.
Do you know that it grew legs on the weekend?
How?
Well, the Norm Smith medal was brought in 1980 for the 12 Victorian clubs.
79.
79, that's right. Wayne Harm's nephew, grand-nephew or something.
Yep.
It was brought in for the 12 Victorian clubs, and I think there's still a competition amongst our traditional Victorian clubs. When the siren went on Saturday and Joe Henderson was named the Norm Smith medalist, that made 11 Victorian teams who've won a Norm Smith medal.
Is that right?
The only team that hasn't?
The Demons.
The curse of the Red Fox.
Very good. That is obscure.
They are now the Lenny Hayes for St Kilda.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that.
Every team's got one, except Norm Smith's own club, Melbourne.
Well, that may be rectified. We've got some news, big news about the Demons, which our newsman will bring us shortly. Well, it was a great grand final, like we said, full of highlights, drama, ultimately a dream fulfilled. Let's revisit the season's biggest occasion in Hot or Not.
Footyology's Hot or Not is proudly brought to you by Trade Institute of Victoria. Start your future today at tiv.vic.edu.au.
Okay, you open the bowling.
Oh, it's pretty simple. Luke Beveridge. Luke Beveridge on every score. Luke Beveridge the coach. Luke Beveridge the person. Luke Beveridge the gesture. He doesn't seem funny. I heard him last night say that he was nervous speaking in front of 100,000 people. He's not anything other than the bloke that came to the club. Got a great football brain as well, Luke Beveridge. I mean, that moment with his players, with Murph, was lovely. And got a great football brain. When he was at St Kilda, I had this feeling, this is interesting, I'd never seen a player as clever a footballer as he, because he used to be able to get free kicks. They're not fake for them. He used to get his opponent, I felt, to infringe on him. He had a great way of doing it. And only last night was the first time I checked his stats for free kicks. His first year at St Kilda was 96. Do you know what the frees for and against were?
No.
26-4, 3 against.
Well, he's coached his players well because the
clever.
Bulldogs had far and away the best free kick differential this season.
I think any player that's played the game that year would be the greatest differential, 866% to the good, and his overall percentage more than 200, more than double. He had 134 for, 64 against in his career. He knows not how to fake for free kicks, how to get, and he's taught his players how to win free kicks.
Full of obscure stats today. It's good. Okay, I'm starting with a hot, and this is a tale of, I guess, of redemption or justification. But Tom Boyd, what a grand final it was from him. Now, you know, few players in the league have been put under the pump as much as this bloke because of his big contract. I think he's had a wonderful final series. Just his competitiveness in the ruck, he and Jordan Roughhead. But he added another string to the bow in this game. He started clunking the big contested marks, and I thought he played well enough on the game. I gave him my third best on ground, but when I went home and watched the game again, it seemed to get even better. He was just taking marks everywhere. He had the presence, and of course the goal that sealed it, which was great presence of mind too. It's not often you see a big guy swoop on a ball in the centre square, spot the opening, and go bang. I'm going to deliver as that flag. So it was a magnificent performance from him. A bit similar to Tom Hawkins in 2011, the coming of age for him, and I reckon he's every chance to go on with it now. Fantastic performance.
Let's be honest, the Doggies have lucked out here. They paid $1 million a year over 7 years for a full forward, and circumstance had placed him in the ruck. He's grown in confidence. He now can be a commanding forward ruckman midfielder type. It's not what they bought him for, but it's won them a flag.
You're up.
I'm going to go just simply the Bulldog supporters. They are those scenes at Whitten Oval on Sunday were. I had it on my TV and I was using the freeze to look at some of the faces and sort of try and think of the people I go to football with, long-suffering St Kilda fans. They, in number, have put up with potential merge, threats of obliteration, and just really being the competition's ugly duckling. Well, the ugly duckling didn't become a swan, it beat a swan, and their fans deserve every minute of it. I love them.
Absolutely. No, great fan base, and they've, like you say, going right back to the merger. They've never been anything but loyal, and I think we might see a significant upswing in their number over the next few years. Okay, I'm going with another. I'm not doing a not today. I'm going with another hot, and no, Swans fans, we're not completely forgetting about your team, because I thought Josh Kennedy delivered one of the great performances in a losing grand final side. So good, he could almost have won the Norm Smith medal. Now, we've only had 4 Norm Smith medalists from losing sides: Maurice Rioli, Gary Ablett, Nathan Buckley and Chris Judd. But he could easily have become the 5th. 22 possessions and 2 goals to half-time. Curbed a little bit in the second half, but ended up with 3 goals and, high 30 touches. And he carried that midfield. He's done it all year. He's had a fantastic final series. When they were belted 2 years ago, he held his head up. He's an absolute monster of a midfielder and great player. And you know, look, I think plenty of Swans can hold their heads high. They were hardly beaten up, but he was the pick of them. Just a wonderful game. And
got due recognition on Monday night, last night, with the Gary Ayres medal, the inaugural winner of the best player in the final series.
It was Josh Kennedy, wasn't it? Oh, I missed that. Yep. Okay, next.
It's a not. I have to do a not. It's AFL footballers, and there's a few knots to come out of the grand final sprint. If you have a look at it, it just didn't go the way as planned. You'd think you line up some footballers from AFL clubs, surely or shortly, they're not going to get beaten by a bloke from Murrumbeena, but this bloke called Shirley beat them. All of them. And Doggies had a good day, but Brad Lynch ran last in the sprint. And except for one bloke, the taxi driver. Now, if they put the taxi driver in the sprint to discourage people from doing a runner, it didn't serve its purpose because he ran last.
Yeah, I was going to do that gag, but about 1,000 people have done it already since the weekend. All right, last one, I'll be quick. Second quarter of this grand final. Now, we talked about where it stands in the Pantheon. The second quarter, 11 goals scored, cracking football. And I remember at half-time thinking, gee, I wonder how long since that many goals have been kicked in a quarter of a grand final. Well, 1997, Finey, sorry to bring it up, but the last quarter of 97, Adelaide and St Kilda, there was 12 kicked. Hasn't been as many kicked in almost 20 years since. It was just, Tom Boyd there early on. Great goal from Nick Smith here. Kennedy kicked a couple. The Swans had that burst, but the Dogs got goals early and then late to even things up.
Yeah, those late goals by the Doggies were key, weren't they?
And this was a key one too. Great handball from Lockie Hunter and the snap from Pickett. If you could isolate 30 minutes of a grand final, that 30 minutes would hold up very, very well alongside anything we've seen, I think, in our lifetimes.
I wasn't at the game. It felt like the crowd was at fever pitch. They were exploding in that quarter.
It's one of the loudest grand finals ever. That was my 46th. And I haven't. We had the window open, the press box. Don't worry, it was significantly loud. It was
in that
great.
for a second quarter, I thought, I understand loud, and we played one Essendon recently, but for a second quarter, it seemed insane.
Yeah, no, well, that's the sort of game it was. We were treated to a classic. Okay, that's the hot or nots. Time for a short break. When we return, the games are over, but the news surrounding the game never stops, and our man's here to fill you in on all the latest. But first, it's been a massive year for our very own Grant Dickinson, making sense of the sometimes nonsensical post-game press conferences, keeping the coaches on their toes, and setting the other media on their behinds. Let's take a look at the highlights of his stunning work this season in the best of the pressing questions.
I suppose we all tangle with this question, Chris. Tomato sauce, do you put it in the fridge or in the pantry?
I don't make big statements straight after the game, so I'm going to dodge that one a little bit.
Chippendale's playing in the reserves. Will they come in?
Probably not, but they're achieving the expectations they've set on each other around having a crack.
Hold the door! Hold the door! Hold the door!
Pardon?
Hold the door! Hold the door! Did you watch Game of Thrones last week?
I missed it. I walked off. I didn't see that.
Jose, Grant Dickinson from Footyology. Is there any truth to the rumour you might be coaching the Brisbane Lions next year? The AFL side, yeah. Because we heard Brisbane Lions. Yeah.
I know who it was.
It's Portuguese or Brazilian?
It's in Brisbane. It's in Brisbane. You brought little Toby McKenzie in there for a first game. How do you think he played?
I thought he was very poor.
Right, a bit harsh.
We had no kicks. His man kicked 4 goals. So how do you think he played?
Well, I think he did play on Ben Griffiths. He played on Ben Griffiths. There's a 90-kilo difference.
Griffiths, that's why he had to move him forward. So, no, I thought he was very poor.
Harsh. Great win by the Bulldogs tonight. Luke Beveridge, you must be really... You're not Luke Beveridge, am I right?
Philosophical way of looking at it, yes.
Oh, I've flown to the wrong Bulldogs game. Rowan's going to spew. Tom Lynch is on report for having red hair?
We'll see how that takes. I can't really comment on it. We'll see what happens out of the tribunal process.
What do you think of the new AFL's no-ragger policy? Will you have to dye it back to brown?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Brad, do you lose focus with Pauline Hanson ringing up all the time? Oh, no. Wanting James Brayshaw's job?
Change. That affected my focus.
Please explain.
Welcome back to Footyology. It's been a long season, but there's no Mad Mondays or end-of-season trips for our man John Pierrick. For JP, the newsbeat never stops. Sadly, neither do the lame gags at his expense. But that's a small price to pay when you've got a cheap suit, a pork pie hat with a press card, and the scent of a big scoop in your nostrils on Tomorrow's News Today. All right, suitably big intro. How are you, JP?
Just hanging on at the moment, I think.
Are you? Well, we're nearly, what now?
I'm going to jump in with a news story.
Oh, you got it, breaking news?
Yeah, I've got exclusive footage, if that helps.
Okay.
Does it help?
First on Footyology.
Plug exclusive vision.
As you know, Stuart Cranberry's ill-timed wedding was held on Friday.
That's right, it was.
And there was a little bit of a problem because the wedding list, the guest list, would have been made up a lot of players. Well, none of them could come. So they had to go back to people that they had eliminated from the first cut. And there's a little rule in weddings, if they're cut, there's a reason, and it turned out to be a disaster because one of the second entries into the guest list, have a look what she did. Oh, God.
Why didn't you get that story, JP?
Bit of Elaine Bettis about her.
Cramery wedding schmozzle.
She's banned from the Spring Carnival. No marquee will have her ever again.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of able replacements.
Hasn't been a great few days for Stuart then, has it? Missing out in the grand final and this disaster.
That disaster, the Big Ten came down. Oh, well, happens.
All right, there's some big news going on, even though the grand final's over. Hit us with it.
Well, the Demons are delighted, aren't they, that Jesse Hogan's re-signed until the end of 2019. There's a lot of talk he was going to go home to Perth, most likely to the Fremantle Dockers, who yet again have failed to land a big fish. What do you sort of think this means for the Demons in terms of their immediate future?
Oh, upwards and onwards. I think, to be perfectly selfish, I think for me it means not having to roll my eyeballs every time there's a story about where will Jesse Hogan go over the next year and a half.
It's great that they've put it to bed now.
Yeah, smart move, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'll be really, it's a real plus for the club. On field, he needs to do better than this year. I think he can with this behind him.
Well, there's some argument that the toing and froing and whatever may have affected his performance.
I think it will.
The proof of the pudding will be next season, obviously. But yeah, look, it's a massive coup, isn't it? Who do you think we'll speculate for the next couple of years about now?
There's Dustin Martin, probably one.
Oh, he'll come up with it. I was thinking you actually, because I've heard some big whispers about you and Footy Classified.
Apologise, please.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean that. Okay, next.
Oh, just on Jesse, I was going to say, I guess it puts a bit of heat on the Demons as well, doesn't it? Like, he's only signed to the end of 19, so they'd want to cash in by then. Otherwise, he's still only 24 and could head elsewhere, possibly on a 5-year deal from that point. So.
Okay, we will speculate about the end of his next contract. There's no stopping it. All right, what else?
We've spoken about the Brisbane Lions a fair bit this year. It's been obviously a disaster up there. We've focused on the bad news, but there's some good news, isn't there, with Chris Fagan to be announced as the coach. Obviously has a great pedigree at Hawthorn, his time at Melbourne and his own right in Tasmania. He's 55 years of age, brings a wealth of experience, and hopefully he can get that club back into good shape.
And another appointment that, when it first came up, would have been seen as left field. Now, a lot of people are going to claim this story, aren't they? But
we spoke about it. Yeah.
We did a long time ago. I'm not saying we're claiming it, but I think I said this on the show a few weeks ago. When his name bobbed up seemingly from nowhere, straight away I thought, well, you don't just throw a name like that into the ring without hearing something. So there was always something in it. And, look, the Phil Walsh appointment was seen as left field. Even Luke Beveridge was seen as being left field. So this guy's got an extensive coaching background in Tassie. His man management skills are great, and that's going to be all the rage now because of Beveridge. Yeah. I think it's a really almost visionary sort of appointment, I reckon.
Yep.
Does he go after Clayton Oliver from Melbourne?
Possibly. Well, there's a few big decisions there to be made, like Tom Rockcliffe. Does he keep the captaincy? Piers Hanley, do they look to keep him, or is he traded to the Gold Coast Suns?
I mean, Fagan and Oliver, it seems a perfect combination.
Oh, very good. Sorry, I wondered where you were going with that. Yeah, another witchery reference.
That's where Oliver ended up, in the Fagan workhouse.
Very good. Next.
Obviously, trade about to kick in from next Monday. Officially begins free agency from Friday. Daniel Wells will attend North Melbourne's Best and Fairest on Friday, but we expect a call from him either Friday or Saturday in terms of him deciding whether to go to Collingwood on a 3-year deal or stick with North.
What's your betting on that one?
I think he's gone.
Really?
At his age, how can you say no to a guaranteed 3-year deal?
Collingwood are crazy.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
He'll be 32 before the first round.
Yep.
In the last 3 years, he's played 19, 4 and 2 games.
Cloak wore number 32, didn't he?
Yep.
Oh, well, they've replaced 32 with a 32-year-old.
Yeah, and Cloak, as we know, is heading to the Western Bulldogs for probably a third or
they look like
fourth
they look like they really need him.
Well, they're going to go from not having many forwards to speak of to a bevy of them, really, with Cramery coming back as well.
I think it's a Bevo, is the pronunciation.
Very good.
Carlton's still waiting for an answer from Zach Tui, whether he's going to stay on a 3-year deal. North Melbourne's into him with 4 years, and Geelong's also emerged now as interested in the halfback flanker. So the Cats obviously feel they need a bit of work across that half-back line.
That's another one that doesn't make sense to me. It's like they need a small defender, not another sort of medium-sized you know, it's more of the same. I don't understand where they're going with that either.
Well, Stephen Motlop's got to make a call there as well, and so have the Cats on him. So perhaps he could fill
some
that
weird,
centre top
unusual
role.
trade speculation at the moment. It doesn't appear to make a lot of sense, but that sort of is the trade period in a nutshell, isn't it?
Is Josh Caddy on the trade table? He should be.
His name's been floated, yes. Perhaps they have too many sort of
inside mids.
Yeah, and they need a bit of outside run.
His main opposition is Dangerfield and Selwood, and he can't get the ball.
He was a player they coveted a few years ago, obviously.
He played brilliantly last year. Last year against the Doggies, he played brilliantly. No, Dangerfield and Selwood was out that week.
Dangerwood.
And Caleb Marchbank's obviously keen on coming to Carlton, but there's a bit of work there to be done with the Giants in terms of the Blues don't want a straight swap for pick 5, but perhaps another player can be added or a swap of picks. The Giants have 2 first-round picks, so interesting to see how that unfolds and whether another player's thrown into it.
Yeah, Blues looking pretty active again because they haven't got enough players from GWS really, have they?
No, they're like the St Kilda of the 80s, aren't they? Carlton players.
Hoskin Elliott to Collingwood?
Yep, possibly. He's asked to head there. So
Collingwood do know there's a salary cap.
Yes.
Okay. The thought of a hyphenated name playing at Collingwood, we're really crossing the cultural divide there, I think.
Yeah. So
all right.
fair bits to be unfold in the next couple of weeks.
Good work from you. You can turn your phone on again now. I think someone just turned it off, or was that your phone?
No, I don't know what it was, but I can tell you this. Let's do the credibility ladder. I've got Footscray, Bulldogs on top, Swans last. Everybody happy with that?
Well, yeah,
on the weekend?
a 2-team ladder. So.
Yeah, you could argue for the Swans.
No. Thanks, JP.
Second quarter.
Great work from you, and great work from you all season. Well done. It's been a pleasure having you aboard.
Look forward to being back next year.
Thank you so much.
Another break now. When we come back, it's time to recall the grandest of grand finals. But first, let's catch up with Grant Dickinson again, because unlike Robert Allenby that night in Hawaii last year, he remembers that day.
Hi, I'm Grant Dickinson from Footyology, and this is I Remember That Day. Who could ever forget 1991 Grand Final when Robert De Castella read out his wedding speech that he was too pissed to read out 10 years earlier on the day? But the biggest piece of ingenuity was when a Tirana dressed in drag as a Batmobile with Angry Anderson at the wheel belted out Bound for Glory. And that we were too, as Robert De Castella looked on and played the spoons. It was amazing. The wind swept through on perms and blonde tips. But the biggest piece of entertainment was saved for our overseas guests who were used to the pre-match entertainment at the Super Bowl. They loved it. Thank you, AFL, and thank you, Angry Anderson.
Welcome back. It's been a lot of fun this season bringing you the great moments from years gone by, but football memories don't come any more vivid than what happens on Grand Final Day. So sit back and reminisce with us one last time in 2016, because like Robbie McGee sitting down the MCG turf with a can in one hand and a dart in the other after Richmond won the 1973 flag, so are the rounds of our lives. Okay, Finey, so many great grand finals. We're going to zip through them. Minimum of talk. You knew I was going to put an Essendon one in there, so let's get it out of the way early in the piece.
There must be a St Kilda 66 in there.
Couldn't find a
so we've got,
for it.
So, we haven't had one St Kilda win for the entire year.
Yeah, I know.
Not one.
Next year. All right, let's start. It's 1984. Bombers haven't won a flag for 19 years. Hawks are the reigning premiers. It's a bit of a classic, this. Classic last quarter. Let's go straight to the action.
In 2 minutes. Brayton's in one. And there it is, a goal. Centre bounce. 5 points the difference. Can the Bombers go on with it? Byrne tries to come into the pack. It's Williams sending the Bombers back into attack. Up it goes there. Baker taps the ball on. Oh, beautiful play. Goes for a goal. And I think they've hit the front. Yes, they're in front. A point in front. That's 4 goals for Baker.
Rain starting to fall again here at the MCG. Curran shoots at goal. Hawthorn are back in front. Watson, Weston. Van der Haar, yes, the mark. Van der Haar. Kick is an awkward looking one. And Essendon lead by 5 points.
Towards the wing position, Merritt Got into the back of McCarthy. Recovers well. Goes for hand pass to the blonde-headed Harvey. A kick up there towards the full forward position. Van der Haar knocked on. There's a go now for Weston. He's put it through for a goal. What a match winner this guy's been at centre half forward. This premiership is Sheedy's premiership with these tremendous moves he's made, Bob. 11 points the difference. Can the Hawks come back? Bit of fumbling goes on as the ball is finally driven up towards their centre half forward line. Tapped on by Merritt. They're full of running. There's Weston again with a hand pass. Coming over to Watson. This could be another goal. It is. Oh, they're killing them. 92.
Donnell knocks it onto Merritt, or trying to find Merritt, but Watson's there instead. They're running right away. There's another one. If he's accurate, I think he's dobbed it. It's Essendon's flag. No doubt about it. And that's beautifully delivered. Right down the throat of Merv Neagle. Eade in pursuit. Neagle gets his kick in long and high to the goal square, and look at that. That really is the sealer if ever there needed to be one. Great play, Essendon.
As the ball goes down there, but a mark to Danaher. Into this quarter by just on 35 minutes. There's the siren.
Essendon winning their first flag since 1965, and the final scores Essendon 14-21, 105 to 12-9, 81.
It's just so emotional. It's 1984. I was 19. I want to go back.
You've done a lot of acting on this show this year, haven't you? 14 more scoring shots. I forgot that they really deserve to win that game.
Okay, let's just move on. Otherwise, I'm going to chew up all the program time. Okay, number 2. Now, fair argument from a lot of people. This is the greatest grand final ever, and they could be right. I just decided to put it fourth on our list. Collingwood Carlton. The Pies have got it all over the Blues. They're 44 points up at half-time, but what an incredible comeback from the Carlton Football Club. Let's go to the action. Let's go to the action.
Building forward, Lee Brown, Davis and Dempster. Davis, well, this would be ironic. He's made a mark on the big stage.
Because he's just going to take this on his shoulders himself.
Well, he's a man for a big occasion, we know that, but can he get the distance? He's pumped it hard, he's pumped it long, he's kicked the goal.
Del Santo kicks inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken by Moore. Dida couldn't control it, revolt out of the congestion, it runs on and touched. Maxwell tracking it back.
Belting forward. Got it! Collingwood has never been behind in this grand final today. The Saints have never been in front until now.
This man, McCaffer, runs to the 50, sets it up. Shaw will fly from behind. Almost got hands to it. Spills out the back. Cloak has kicked the goal. Magpies back in front. Has been terrific. Kicks outside the defensive 50. What a mark! Revolt.
That's one way of getting it out, Lee.
Yep.
O'Brien.
Here we go, 1-1.
Hayes belting the ball forward. Johnson quickly off the mark. Milner at best. Ball bouncing. Scores a level.
Oh, no.
What are you doing next week? Goddard, the tap. Del Santo. It's going to be a draw. It's unbelievable. But it's happened.
Okay, what did you notice there? It wasn't black and white. It was colour. It was Collingwood. There was no Carlton. I stuffed up. Read your notes, Connolly, you idiot.
You need to see a psychologist or psychiatrist. You hate St Kilda so much that even when they're in, even when they're in the years rounds of our lives, you don't even reference them.
I'm sorry, I'll reference them now. That is an epic contest. The Saints so close. The bounce of the ball for Stevie Milne. And this will have to suffice. So apologies, Saints fans, but that was a classic game. Oh, so close. All right, speaking of classic games, let's go to our next one. A lot of people say this is the greatest grand final of all time. So chock full of incident. Two great teams, the Hawks, reigning premiers, Geelong, up-and-comers. It's 1989. It's the MCG. The stage is set for a grand final epic.
Now watch this on replay. You see Yates, there he is,
coming off the wing there. A young
hand pass over the top, sends Pritchard away. Down towards full forward. Belton, the test here. He's taken the mark. Forces on this Blackton with time to kick the ball long towards full forward. The marking contest. Hocking can't take it. Curran, snapshot. Hooks it across his body. Another goal to Hawthorn. Pritchard robbed of the ball. Hocking's away. Gets the hand pass away quickly to Yates, who boots it down towards full forward. Brownlow's in best position. That time to the backhand. Hughes comes away. There's the time remaining. The Cats are looking better. Hughes goes long down towards the pocket. Ablett! Oh, what a mark! Flanagan now doing the ruck work against Deer. Ablett over the top. Snapshot by Gary Ablett. This is close. Oh, it is mercurial stuff. Pocket. That's the direction the kick takes. Hawthorn player down off the ball. Missed down there in the pocket. Anderson scrambles towards goal. What a massive goal. Boss bumps it forward. Lidner, probably Geelong's best player, in traffic. Hand pass comes to Buse. Buse gets around Lidner. Unloads into the forward line yet again. Kennedy in front. Ablett over the top. Oh, what a mark. Defence. Flanagan doing the ruck work. Deer. The ball comes down to Hamilton. Hamilton's left foot kick. It may even bounce through for a goal. It certainly is a goal. Right on the siren. Spills come across to Lidner. Lidner breaks away from half-back. The second bounce carries into centre wing. Well shepherded. Goes long down towards the pocket. Ablett is there. Almost the one-hander. Finds it on the ground. From 25 metres out, he's checked it. His 8th goal. The miracle worker is down there. Ablett carried under the ball. Hamilton behind. 40 metres out. Open goal. It's home. Another one. Brown smothered. Kick off the ground by Dippy Domenico. The Hawks have the numbers on this member's wing. Buckenara over the top. Anderson into an open goal goes Anderson, and it's there. Hawthorn by 17 points. Bounce favours Bruns. Bruns goes for goal. Brownless at the back. Ablett. Here goes Ablett for goal number 9, and he's threaded it. This could be another Geelong goal. There'll be only one kick in it if Scott can get the ball. He gathers well and kicks it to Cameron, who's marked 40 metres from goal.
taking too long.
David Cameron has kicked one. David Cameron has kicked two. Stop Geelong, must get it immediately. One down by Flanagan, taken by Buse, upended by Dippy Domenico. They lock it up again. It looks like it's all over. The dream of back-to-back pennants is all but there as far as the Hawks are concerned. There's the siren. Hawthorn have won it by 6 points. A heart-stopper.
Amazing stuff. Gary Ablett, 9 goals. Hawthorn with a litany of injured players. Cats coming from 7 goals down just before that goal from Shane Hamilton, just on 3/4 time. You know what? I'll say this. I've often maintained that game is a bit overrated because for the bulk of it, the Cats were 6-7 goals down.
The Cats couldn't win that game. They really couldn't win the game until Cameron took the mark, and then he took 25 seconds to kick the goal.
Yeah, but hang on. This is another misconception, Finey. When Shane Hamilton kicks that goal in the last quarter, they're only 11 points down, and there was still, I think, about 7 minutes.
I was saying, that's when the game was alive, when Hamilton kicked that goal.
And Dean Anderson kicked that one in response from a hack off the ground from Dipper.
You know what I note? That when the siren goes, it's not the same level of joy that we have now. You know, the players sort of threw their arms in the air.
Yeah.
Now it's as though the world is,
You've got
the world
to
has
do
been
the stacks
saved.
on the mill thing. Yeah, no, it's interesting that. It was sort of more, I don't know, it seemed more real in a way, didn't it? And it was just relief for the Hawks by the finish of it.
You realise if the graph keeps going for excitement, in 10 years the winners will take their clothes off.
Yeah. All right, that's for you, Hawk fans and Cat fans. Great to watch your team in action, the start of a pretty good run of grand finals. Okay, we're going to try this again. Number 2 on our list, Finey. It's 1970. It's black and white. I'm pretty sure it's black and white footage. Carlton and Collingwood. Magpies have beaten the Blues 3 times during the season, including the second semi-final 2 weeks previously. They're on the way to doing it again. 44 points up at half-time.
Is this going to be North Melbourne Hawthorn?
It better not be, or I'm walking off set. Let's go to the action.
It's on its way, though. It's right into the goal square. A magnificent kick. They fly. Big John is there. Oh, gets it around the net. Nichols, 12 yards out, directly in front. No misses with him, right through the centre.
They're taking their time with the ball, as you mentioned. There comes Jones now. It's a big kick, torpedo punt high. Walls is underneath. Nichols from behind. And Nichols has plucked another one. Runs in. See what he can do with it. He kicks, steers it right through the middle. There's no worries about that.
Crosswell of Carlton. He takes his kick. Oh, it's a nice one, too, up towards centre half forward. The players sit themselves. Terry Waters went up, but Eakins comes out with it. Kick smothered by Jackson. Jackson goes after it now. Look at this fella go. Jackson a long hand pass to Hopkins. Hopkins steadies. Hopkins kicks. He's put it through.
Holding the ball for Swell. Ball in possession.
24 and a half.
Oh, too high. Too high. Duke.
On a slight angle, Brent Crosswell. It's on its way, it looks pretty good. Carlton in front, it's a goal. Carlton in front.
Oh, what a finish.
And we're into time on. Now Price of Collingwood steadying down, he's going for the lead from McKenna. McKenna goes up, he's playing it.
Play on. Play on.
Oh, play on. Play on is a call. Up towards centre half forward for Carlton now. Through comes Jesselenko. Jesselenko, a left footer. There's nobody there.
Look at this.
It's bounced through.
You wouldn't believe this, honestly. That's Jesselenko's third goal. And Collingwood players holding hands to their head as the time's getting away from them now. They're 11 points down. Oh, it's got to go any second, Michael. Half a minute to play, I reckon.
Fantastic. There's the kick now, down to the half-forward flank. A mark to Gallagher. There's the siren. Carlton. Carlton are premiers and number one with us. He's surrounded. Carlton are premiers and our commiseration.
Amazing, just amazing. You know, Finey, last week on SEM we spoke to Barry Price, who played for Collingwood in that game, and he's still devastated by it. There's so many Collingwood people who really struggled emotionally to deal with that and still do all these years later.
I never realised how good a goal that was by Jezza. That was extraordinary.
He was miles out, and of course, a bit of controversy, McKenna not being paid the mark beforehand. Well, I was going to say world record crowd at the MCG, 121,000. That game had absolutely everything. If you haven't seen it, watch it in full. It is on YouTube. It's an absolute classic. All right, let's go to number one. Now, this may be a controversial call, Finey, but I reckon this game is a very strong contender for the greatest grand final of all time. No, we're not going back into the dim, distant past. We're only going back 4 years. It's 2012, it's Hawthorn, and it's Sydney. Let's see why this was such a great game.
Trying to get the ball out. Malcheski, a left footer. Can he get the hook? It's pretty good. It's a chance. It's a goal.
Grundy, chance for Young. Goals open up. Decides to go to Bruce. Bruce needs to kick it now, and he does.
Mitchell forward, and now Hawthorn with another big opportunity as Gunston rolls it home. What a finish to the opening term.
Hanbury gives the hand pass to O'Keefe. Brilliant by the Swans. Reid lines up at goal. It does not get better than that.
Left foot, Good's in a good spot, and yes he does. Oh no, not paid, maybe he didn't. Morton has to fish for it, still fishing. No one's got him, and he's hooked a big one.
Inside the 50 by Jack, socket off the ground by Goods. He can kick a goal, this man. Morton puts it through. That runs to midfield. Again, this is where their problems start to begin. Well, Franklin makes it easy, takes the mark, surrounded by Swans, lines up, hasn't got the carry, it's a goal. Here, and that's the man they need to move it quickly to. Franklin wheels around, hasn't got the carry. I think so.
It's right back in it. Yeah, that City end dominating Saul. Rioli starting to get busy. Mitchell, they'll be in front in a minute. Here's Smith on the burst, 50 metres out. Less than a minute. Back though, and then Shaw again, tackled this time by Burgoyne. Hawthorn get it forward. Rioli, brilliantly done. Weaving and weaving to Bruce. It'll sit, he'll kick a goal, and they're in front. Here, they need a lucky bounce. Morton, can he take them all on? He'll need to. He did pretty well. He did very well. Jack running onto it with Young. This is big. This is really big. It's a dead set, massive moment. And then off the step to fall forward. Big fly, Bird, Goods. Could he roll it through? He can. Cometh the moment, cometh the champion.
A grand final from the top shelf. There's the bounce. Both ruckmen hanging on. Kennedy can't emerge with the football, knocked forward by Savage. Hanbury to Malcheski. Is that the grand final? Sydney are premiers.
Get it. Buddy Bloody held up. Hanbury's been magnificent. Malcheski, 2 goals that he'll never forget. And they're home all right. They've done it. What a team. That culture, the Bloods. That's what it's all about.
I rest my case. 3 comebacks in that game. Incredible individual highlights. Amazing finish. Game in doubt with 40 seconds left. What more can you ask for?
A magnificent game and played in the perfect conditions.
Yeah.
Not bright, not windy. It was a beautiful day for football.
Yep.
Those 2 goals by Malcheski, his leg kick, unbelievable. I'm with you. I think that's a great call.
Thank you very much. Let's get to a break. When we return, the Premiership questions been answered, but so many remain, and we're here to deal with them. Thanks for joining us here on Footyology. Was that shot of Jason Johannesson's really touched on the line? Why couldn't the Swans buy a free kick? And what in God's name was that unintelligible string of words sting yelled into the mic after he'd finished his pre-game set? You ask, we answer, because for the final time this season, it's keyboard Q&A. All right, Finey, you know the drill. Tweets, you read the name, I read the tweet. Go. Paul says, will the pre-finals bye round change the whole concept of having to finish top 4 to win the Premiership? Yes, it will. There's no doubt the Bulldogs got the biggest assistance of any team out of it, which was great from a spectator's point of view. Was it a bit harsh on the teams that finished in the top 4? Personally, I think it was.
I don't at all. They still had to win 4 games. The fact that a team needs to win 4 games without a break at the end of the season has proved to be impossible. The imbalance, I can't believe people are railing against it. We've had 1 year where it's worked in favour of a team of the bottom 4 after how many years of absolutely irrefutable evidence that without a break, you can't win it from the bottom 4. You know what? No bye, go to a top 4. I think it's an absolute must.
I'm not sure you should be able to win it from the bottom 4.
So go to a top 4. Why have the bottom 4 of the 8?
Well, revenue.
Take them out of the finals.
No, I'd be happy with that. I just think, seriously, 6-month season, you work really hard to achieve an advantage, and then it's essentially negated.
They've still got the advantage.
Well, the outlier here, of course, was that the Dogs finished 7th with 15 wins. Now, that's probably not going to happen again. We did have 2 qualifying final losers, both lose their preliminaries after only 1 of 18 had lost previously. I'm prepared to give it another year and see how it pans out. But if we get a similar set of results...
Oh, that's very big of you, Rohan.
Yeah, well, I've consulted my people.
You've already said that if there's a night grand final, you're going to, ban football forever?
No, I said over my dead body, and you said that was a good thing. Good
at least we're getting
and we
somewhere.
laughed heartily.
I remember.
Yeah, before I went home and cried. Okay, next tweet. Name.
Jeff Hayden.
Jeff Hayden, good friend of ours from the US. Where does Bob Murphy not playing in the winning grand final rank on the list of team icons who missed their team's big day? Well, a couple of captains. Frank Tuck for Collingwood, famously
Neville
in
Crowe
58.
from Richmond.
Neville Crowe for Richmond in 67.
Dittrich from St Kilda was huge.
Yeah, correct. When was he suspended? Either the finals?
Second last round.
Yeah.
Fitzroy, Brunswick Street Oval, Darryl Peoples.
Yeah. I got another one, another captain missing out, Keith Gregg for North Melbourne in 1977.
Yeah, that's right.
Any others you can think of? Come to know?
As far as captains.
Paul Salmon, Essendon, 1984, not a captain.
And then players who were unlucky, played all season, Kickett. Obviously, Derek Kickett was controversial.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of suspensions
Yeah.
for grand finals at least. But Murphy right up there because he's been such a wonderful servant for the club through thick or thin. Let's just hope that the team continues on this upward curve and he plays him on.
You certainly can't say they didn't celebrate his involvement in their story, did he? I mean, of all the guys that have ever missed out, he's had the most airtime, really, hasn't he? And good luck to him too, he deserves it.
And he's been able to put his story to pen to paper and he does it well, so it's been well documented.
He wrote a brilliant piece in The Age on Grand Final Day. Okay, next tweet.
Anthony Knight.
Who says, can I mention the free kick count or is that sour grapes? No blame from Sydney team, maybe Dogs, just better. Now, what was it? Was it 28?
20 to 8.
Yeah, very lopsided. Look,
very low.
I don't think there's much doubt the Swans were on the wrong end of a couple of...
The Hanbury one?
Yeah. There's another one that isn't quite coming to mind, but you cannot argue that cost them the game.
No, the flow of the game was not affected by the umpiring at all. The game progressed. Swans, in the end, were sort of, they were crushed by the relentless Dogs, and the umpires didn't do that. The Dogs did.
Well, I'm told the umpiring got a 7 out of 10 from the head honchos.
Yeah, I can see why. I think they were too willing to see the ball move on. You can't you can't throw the ball backwards and things like that. There were some messier moments, but the game itself was not affected.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, last tweet.
Kyle Huntjens.
No, it's Kylie.
Oh, Kylie Huntjens. Sorry, Kylie.
Kylie, who is a devoted Bulldogs fan, so big hello to Kylie. She says, do you think Jason McCartney and Simon Dalrymple will be poached, or will clubs try and copy their methods? Good question. They may be, but it's their methods. It's been, I guess, identifying not necessarily stars, but it's probably not that different to what Sydney have done in a way. It's finding guys that couldn't get games elsewhere, like Biggs is one of them. Hamling's another one.
Not Camling. Hamling from Geelong.
Hamling, I said Hamling.
Yeah, I'm saying they had Camling, didn't they?
Yeah.
Here we go again. A team wins a premiership, and then everybody involved in the club becomes the genius that knows the secret to unlocking premiership glory. If they get poached, it will not guarantee any success anywhere else. They're no better or worse than anybody else, because all these jobs are so there's such an interrelationship between clubs now. There's no unique people at football clubs except the coach.
I agree. A final break now. When we return, the final Footyology rant off of the season. But to get you in the mood, we've cut up some of the most passionate, provocative, and often completely intellectually barren diatribes ever uttered on a TV football show, which, if you've seen Footy Classified, you'll appreciate is a very big call indeed. See if you can survive this, and if the answer is yes, we've got a bit more for you coming up.
Beta Alpha 6:43. Hi. 3, 2, grand final.
I'm pissed off about the Brownlow medal coverage, Finey. What are they playing at, turning it into a quasi-fashion show? Bloody wags and red carpet everywhere and all this, who are you dressed by? Okay, so I still need a bit of help putting on my polyester tie. But what, are they incapable of putting on their own clothes now?
And now we have an ad hoc shot clock. Am I knocking my head against a paper wall? I move that and that's a paper wall. Look, it's unacceptable AFL. It's at every ground or no ground.
What do you call that Kochi's Angels rubbish on Sunrise, where you round up every peanut social commentator and let them talk absolute drivel for 10 minutes? What do you call having to get the latest on Samantha Armitage's love life every half a bloody hour? Now, they're genuine crimes against the state.
Why don't Geelong have any seats for opposition fans? It's because of the weird pagan rituals they do at quarter time and half time behind closed doors. And not really, their scoreboard becomes a blackboard and they teach the local population how to read and write.
What do you get in Groundhog Day Tiger style? You get several dozen turnovers, another loss, the same old talkback callers ringing Finey's final siren, and yet more bloody microwave membership cards.
Collingwood's got memberships planned for the deceased. You can be an eternal Collingwood member if you want. Just get somebody to bring your ashes to the game, and there's another one onto the list.
Umpires are human. Okay, so they look a bit pasty and collect stamps, but they're not part of some organised crime syndicate. And if they can piss the likes of Chris Kenny off, I say they're good for football.
I know Jason Cloak, I know Cameron Cloak, I know Travis Cloak, but now there's Invisibility Cloak. I don't know how he got to the club, but Harry Potter, take him back.
Mark my words, Carlton and Essendon are pulling a Swiftie here. They're secretly working on a TV pilot for September when both will have a lot of free time on their hands. Don't be surprised if next week at team selection it's out Parish, Merritt and Zaharakis and in Con the Fruiterer, Auntie Jack and Aussie Ostrich. Don't believe me? Well, wait until one of these sides wins another game and see if you get their traditional theme song or this.
This is not a song to sing when you're winning. This is a song to sing when you're stuck in a boat paddling the Siberian seas.
Come on, Queensland. It's not like you haven't already got a bit of ground to make up in the credibility stakes. Do the names Joe Bielke-Peterson and Pauline Hanson ring a bell? Not that those two would be doing any worse if they got a game this week for the Suns or Lions.
Well, let me see. I'm a St Kilda supporter. Can I remember the last time we won 3 premierships in a row? No, we've won 1 flag in 150 years, so we've never won 3 in a row. You can wait decades before you get any handouts. Let's be honest, you've got an academy, you've had cola, and you claim that there's problems with player retention in Brisbane. Well, Brisbane's got a lot going for it. It's got the weather, and the weather's good.
The Dockers have had the most spectacular collapse of any top 4 side in history, and somehow Ross Lyon's convinced the football world it's all part of some big master plan. This is a team that was a few goals away from a grand final last year. Now they couldn't beat Patchawalk thirds, and no one's even batting an eyelid. And the reason they're not batting an eyelid is because everyone's eyelids are closed. Yeah, they've fallen asleep watching the most boring act in sport since the live streaming of the 1972 World Chess Championships in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Golden rule says if your nana can't knit it, it's not a footy jumper. Modern jumpers for the bin. It's the old knittables for me and for you if you love your footy.
Take that Mark Jackson interview on Open Mic last week. What was all the outcry about? So Jacko told Mike Sheen that he was a pubic hair. Geez, in my day, that was a compliment. If you went to a coach's press conference and didn't get assaulted, let alone sworn at, you hadn't done your job.
There is a rule for a precious few in this competition. It's called the anointed ones, and they get special treatment, and I don't like it. First of all, who are the anointed ones and how do you get anointed? Well, you get anointed when Bruce calls you special or that you're delicious.
I want Kevin Sheedy leading the coalition. Why not? Sheeds has already done more for farmers this year with that country game than the Nationals have in decades. He and Mick could bang on about Martians and the ox being slow and the earth patient and still make more sense. They wouldn't look like a couple of insincere prats when they went out and shook hands with some real people either. And if it had been Sheeds who'd bitten into an onion and not Tony Abbott, no one would have batted an eyelid. When the next leaders debate comes around, I want Turnbull shortened out and Sheedy and Moldhouse in. I want Craig Hutchison as moderator and I want the worm back too. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Chris Kenny has already got an election gig.
That was frustratingly good.
Was it?
Yeah.
Welcome back. The season's done and dusted. The bouquet's awarded, but there's still plenty of brickbats to deal out because Finey and I are never satisfied. There's always something to moan about, and we're the whingiest, most ill-tempered old bastards televised football coverage has seen since Don Scott was doing special comments. So deal with a taste of our bad medicine on the Footyology Rant Off! No messing around today. Channel your inner demon and let loose. I'm counting you in. 3, 2, 1. Rant!
Today's Rant Off is about the Rant Off. 26 weeks of heartfelt football passion from Rohan Connolly and myself has fallen on deaf ears. We didn't get a single person to vote on either of us. And as far as having an effect on football, zero, nothing. I mean, we had reasonable propositions, turning Etihad football ground into a farmer's market and bringing back AFL to Glenferrie Oval. We ranted about attaching electrodes to the umpire's nipples so they could be shocked every time they made a bad decision, or replacing Gil McLaughlin with Geraldo, or Jesse Raphael. None of these were taken up. In the end, what are we left with? We appear as though we're two curmudgeonly 51-year-olds who hate the world. We despise change. We think that anything that young people like should be binned. I mean, I think have deep-seated hatreds of our own football clubs, and sadly, all we've learned from 26 weeks of ranting is that when I get angry, I spit, and Rohan has to wedge a bloody music reference into everything he says. It's been an abject failure. The Rant Off is off.
Don't be so downbeat, Finey. Someone will listen. My mum likes it.
Yeah, but we haven't changed anything, mate.
Well, we've just got to stick at it, like Sydney. You've just got to keep presenting, and then one day, hopefully, the people who matter will listen.
I can't see Fitzroy coming back into the corner.
No, I can't. Okay, count me in.
3-2 finale.
I'm pissed off with the Western Bulldogs, Finey. Who do they think they are, proving football fairy tales can come true? AFL's supposed to be a ruthless business. There's no room for romance and nice guys. You're supposed to be hated for your success, not the subject of the biggest love-in since Woodstock. Bloody Luke Beveridge and Bob Murphy. One's giving away all his chattels, the other's become the people's poet. I'm surprised when they got up on the Premiership day as Sons of the West wasn't put on hold and everyone started singing Kumbaya instead. Seriously, where's the arrogance, the entitlement? It's all care, empathy and compassion. These Bulldogs are so bloody inclusive. Once they visit their regional fan bases with the Premiership Cup, it's off to some orphanage in Calcutta. Remember the good old days when clubs like the Bulldogs knew their place, bowing at the feet of the corporate powerhouses like Carlton, Collingwood and Essendon? They're the ones in need of our sympathy. Poor old John Elliott's got no one to scoff at anymore, and he's so embarrassed these days he's got to get his son Tom to go on radio and read his scripts for him. Beveridge got up to receive the Premiership Cup and said footy fans had made them feel like the Beatles. What's going on? We should be treating them like we treated Meatloaf after the 2011 Grand Final. I smell a conspiracy. Think about it. The Bulldogs are from the western suburbs. Their president used to make a living suing corporate fat cats, and their number one supporter is Julia Gillard. I've checked with Andrew Bolt, and he agrees. This isn't a football fairy tale. It's another sinister leftist plot.
Yep. Political references as well. Yeah, look, I agree. I think I preferred them when Jack Di Natale was roving to Terry DeConning.
Absolutely.
The Durs. Yeah.
Those were the days.
They knew their place.
And you can read that diatribe in the Herald Sun tomorrow. It should be just the ticket for their op-ed pages.
Bulldogs, the best thing about Footscray was that you could throw stones at the Hyde Street Band. You know, the big kid that walked around when they raised money?
You don't do that. Okay, we're done.
I did that.
We're done here, Finey.
We're done for the year?
We're done for the... I want to call a couple of people in. John Perrick, will you please come on set very quickly? Hurry it up. We know John, but we've... Finey, I want you over here, very close for this. Quick.
Takes up.
No messing around. Grant Dickinson, will you please come onto the set? This is Mr. Pressing Questions, everyone. You finally get to see him. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, mate.
All right, that's our last show. Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you weren't, you should have been. A big thanks to the whole Channel 31 crew, particularly Shane Dunlop and our series producer, Sam McSweeney, who's one very happy Bulldog. And as we bid farewell, remember the famous words of the Robert Burns poem. Should old footballers be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old footballers be forgot, not by Rocco and Mark Fine? We'll take the piss and yell a lot, the way football should be. So stick the other footy shows, this is Footyology. See you later. See you guys.
You know, with all the programs they've had in place and the youth girls coming through, like I went and watched the Youth Girls Carnival a couple of months ago and I was blown away. Like they were, you know, the skill level and the way they moved the ball was phenomenal. So the skill is definitely there.